I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. Thank God he gave us another day today. I love you guys, you know that. I'm very sorry that a lot of times I'm negative in these videos. I just try to be realistic. But I am very, very thankful for everything I have and grateful for everything I have. And you should be too on this Sunday. Me and my wife had a long talk yesterday. And this is a wonderful world. This is a wonderful country, but this is a wonderful world. And I was talking to her. And I had a good discussion with her. And I said, listen, we got to make some decisions. I was looking to buy a condo here in Vegas to buy it and rent it out, because you can make a couple of bucks. And I was walking through a condo neighborhood, and it was a good deal. But I always have to look several times, not just at the reviews, but I look at the. I go through the neighborhoods and talk to the neighbors, and it was a pretty nice neighborhood for that condo. Heck, I want to live there. And so there was a couple of Mormon boys I ran into, and we had a long talk, and they gave me the Book of Mormons, and we were talking and stuff. Nice young lads, man. Nice young lads. And they were telling me, people were slamming the doors in their faces and everything else. And I get it, they're not Jehovah's Witnesses, but they're still talking about things people don't want to hear, and they're slamming the doors. I just like, how can you slam the door on somebody that's preaching the word of God? I just didn't understand it. And we were talking about the world today, and them two young men get it. You know what I mean? We were talking about different things that I talk about, and they were teaching me things, and I was teaching them things. And let me tell you something. My grandma always told me you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. It means you're supposed to listen more and talk less. And I learned a lot from them two young men. And let's just say there's a lot of evilness in this world, and we got to defeat it. And I absolutely love what those young men were doing. They're out here preaching the word of God. And I told them what I do. I preach the word of freedom. And I told them that I try to teach people through freedom and decentralized assets. And he asked me if I wanted to, preach the word of God and stuff like that. And maybe I will do that one day, when I'm more spiritually ready and better equipped to it, because I haven't studied that much, and I need to do a better job with that. But I am doing better every single day, and I encourage you to do that too. But me and my wife were talking, and we discussed what we're going to do with our lives, because again, it's God, family, country. That's what I do in that order. And so, do I think Donald Trump can save us? I think he can help. I don't think one man can save an entire nation, because there's still a lot of evilness, and he's creeping his evil head out, and you know who that is. But I think Donald Trump is a very good start. I do. And how you doing, sir? Good morning. And I think he's a very good start. I've been looking at 3 countries in particular. I'm going to make a list of 10 countries that if this stuff doesn't work out, I may go there. And let me explain what I mean by that. Number 1 is El Salvador. President Bukele, for those of you that don't know, he adopted Bitcoin to El Salvador. And it's crazy. You see the opposite directions El Salvador is going versus America. El Salvador is turning into America, and America is turning into El Salvador. It's weird. If you listen to President Bukele, he's running in 2024 too, by the way. He made Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador. Okay. He's all about freedom. Literally sounds like one of the founding fathers. He's not for none of this stuff that we're going for. And by the way, on the side note, did you hear what Kamala Harris did when she came to Africa, offering Africa $60 million for basic human rights, basically trying to push the LGBTQ stuff? And then Russia and China are speaking the complete opposite, talking about training and military and self-defense and weapons and stuff like that, stuff that's actually needed. The audacity of us, man. We're trying to push that agenda, or the people above our administration are trying to push that agenda. And you know who they are. President Bukele is up for election in 2024, just like Donald Trump. He is the Donald Trump of El Salvador. I got to be honest, he's actually probably better than Donald Trump. I think he is, actually. Just look him up yourself. Don't believe me. Look him up. Look up the country of El Salvador and look what he's doing over there. I mean, he's not politically correct, ladies and gentlemen. Look what he's doing to I think it's the MS-13 gangs over there. They made a whole new facility, a prison, and he's locking them up like it's going out of style. And they got a lot of leaders in there, and he's basically telling them that if you do a certain thing, we'll starve the people in there. No cell phones, no nothing. He's not playing around with these people, and that's how you do it. You can't be soft on people who aren't soft, and I'll get to that in a second. And so he's up for re-election in 2024, as is Brandon. Okay, two complete opposite presidents. I'm gonna just tell you this: that's my number one country right now. If Bukele wins and President Brandon wins, because he's obviously can't do the job, I'm going to El Salvador. That's it. For 4 years at least, until we can get our country back. I'm not for it, man. When you sit down and you do your taxes and you see what you're paying in taxes to fund this stuff, and you see the omnibus bill they passed, what 80% of it with woke agendas and the stuff that they're pushing on us, I don't want my grandchildren to grow up in this country. El Salvador used to be a third world nation. Their currency was messed up. Bukele literally sounds like one of the founding fathers of America when you hear that man talk. He is all for God. He's all for the people and family and men and women being together. He ain't for none of this stuff. And he's all about freedom and country and loving. And we're not for that right now. I love my country, but I don't have blind loyalty to anybody except God. Just put it this way. I love my wife and I'm dedicated to her and I'll work it out. But if my wife starts cheating on me and lying to me and stealing from me and dressing up like a man, because I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up for my wife to dress up like a man, and then wants to teach our grandchildren about all this stuff. I'm not going to be with my wife anymore. I don't believe in divorce, but I'm not going to be with a woman like that, and neither would you. That is exactly what our country is doing. So when I hear people saying, oh, Jerry, you got to fight the good fight, I am going to fight the good fight. I am. But if the brainwashing keeps going on, because what they're doing is they're using Marxist, socialist, communist, dictator, brainwashing tactics to go into the poor part of the country, which are most Democrats. Now, some Republicans are poor too, but they teach the people that need to be influenced by giving them free stuff. And, people love free stimulus checks. How's that going, by the way? And I told everybody when stimulus checks came out, that's a stupid idea because you're going to pay for it and nothing's free, ladies and gentlemen. And they use those people and they brainwash them. And what do they tell you? That Republicans are bad. America is racist. Donald Trump is racist. Guys, before Donald Trump became president, all the rappers, all the black people loved Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump. I had all his courses and everything else. Real estate courses, business courses. I've learned so much from Donald Trump. And let me tell you something. I've been in the same room with Donald Trump in 2008 There's nothing like being in a room with that man. Okay, he is the most, he just changes the whole atmosphere when he walks in the room, let me tell you. Now, I ain't never been in a room with Brandon, but let's just say when Brandon walks in the room, you want to help him, grab him and help him and get him to the next area. Brandon is incapable of being our president, and we know this. We're looking totally weak. Let me say this about Brandon, because he's such an easy target to talk about. And as evil as he was, and as racist as he is, because he's racist. You know, that stuff bothers me, of course, not the racism part. I'm talking about him being evil and stuff like that. The man, not just because of his age, because I know people that are older than him that can function. He can't function as our president. He shouldn't be our president. And they're showing to our faces that whoever's in charge is not really in charge. Now, do I believe Donald Trump is ran by these cabal people? No. Do I think he's maybe a little part of it? I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence of it. You know what I mean? I think he gets influenced. He got influenced with the jab, and I think he got influenced with printing money. He raised interest rates too in 2018, December 2018. That was a mistake. You saw what the markets did. But they're just showing you outright these evil people, that the people that they elect are not in charge. Let's just take away all the stuff that I talk about Brandon, right? Just take away the evilness, the stuff he's allegedly doing with China, the things he's doing with his son, all the extra money coming in, all the conflicts of interest, everything. Just take all that evil stuff away, the racism, all that stuff, and just look at him as an individual man. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you want that man to be your president? Do you think he's capable? He looks like a grandpa. Donald Trump doesn't seem like he's aged a bit. He looks the same as he did when he first ran in 2015 when he announced. He looks the same. And that was 8 years ago. So I don't mean, like I said, Brandon's an easy target. I don't mean to pick on him. I don't like him. He's evil, but I kind of feel sorry for him. I know I'm trying to look at things through God's eyes, and he's supposed to love everyone. And again, when I said if something happened to Donald Trump and they try to assassinate him, I wouldn't even want Brandon to be assassinated, because I'm telling you, Brandon gets assassinated, I wouldn't want that, number one. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. But number two, who would be in charge? Look what happened when JFK got assassinated. Look who took over. You talking about a man that ruined this country, LBJ. What do you think Kamala will do? My God. It'll be worse than it is now. Kamala was not hired because she's smart and she's capable of doing the job. Let's just say that. She was hired for two reasons. She fit some of the infinity stones of wokeness, being black, a woman, a victim, because she called Biden a racist on the presidential debates in 2019. Remember that? They're like, wow, this girl's good. She's a victim. She talks about racism. Let's get her. And two, she's easily manipulated. She's all for it. She don't care about black people. Black Lives Matter don't care about black people. Democrats don't care about black people. The people that are in charge. They don't give a damn about you. Anyways. So Biden's an easy target. Okay? So I know I pick on him a lot, and I always wear this. But that's just standing for the cabal that's in charge of him. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're just telling you, hey, listen, this guy's not in charge. We know he's not in charge. We hide him. We don't let him do interviews. He'll say a statement. We'll shoot him up with some drugs. He'll say a statement, and then he'll walk off. When you do ask him a question, he doesn't even know what you're talking about. And again, I'm not making fun of the man. It's just he's not capable of doing this. Why, as we in the United States of America, because we're not united right now, why are we not standing up and all going, you know what? We're not going to go to work. We're not going to do anything until you get this guy out of the office. I don't care if you don't like Trump or not. I'm not telling you to put Trump in, but stand up and go, this is not the guy we wanted the face to be of the face of our country. We look weak, and we are weak. Let me tell you what's happening in this country right now, ladies and gentlemen. I liken it to I came up with an analogy yesterday. Every single day that this administration is in office, here's what's happening. Let's just say you have a man who can do two paths. He can make $100 every single day and prosper in his life. He can work out every day. He makes $100 every day. I'm not saying that's a lot. I'm just saying, follow me. He works out every day. He makes $100 every day. He reads every single day. He gets a little bit better. He's increasing his net worth. He's getting smarter. He's getting faster. He's reading the Bible. He's praying every day. He's being a good family man. Every single day he's doing these things. You take that same man, the same exact person, and he's losing $100. He's at the casino gambling every day. He's cheating on his wife. He's ruining his family and his marriage. He's not working out. He's eating bad. He's doing terrible things. What do you think is going to happen to those two people? Now, there's no in between. He's not just sitting there not doing nothing. Because again, guys, you are always moving. You're either moving backwards or you're moving forward. There's no stagnation in the world. Either you're getting worse or you're getting better. We're all getting older. But I know people that are 55 years old that are better when they were 30 because they made different decisions. So again, where do you think those two people are headed? And which path would you want to do? That's our country right now, ladies and gentlemen. In my opinion, Donald Trump was the first guy making $100 a day, meaning our country is in a surplus. Now, he messed up in 2020. I give him that when he printed all that money. That was stupid. He shouldn't have did that. And he messed up caving in to the mob and the swamp by talking about this. But I think he's going to learn from that. Everybody makes mistakes. Even the first guy I told you about, he's not perfect. Every once in a while, he'll mess up too. But that's what our country was. We were making $100 a day. We were working out. We were getting stronger, smarter, faster. We were believing more in God. We were loyal to our spouse. Look what this administration is doing. They're putting us in debt. We're losing money every single day. We're getting away from God. We're getting fat and obese, this country. And we're going the exact opposite of what we were before. Did you see when Brandon came into office, what he did the first day? He came in and undid almost every single thing Donald Trump worked for. So that'd be equivalent of that man who was doing all the right things, making $100 and all this stuff, sitting down and go, you know what? Now I'm going to go to the casino and I'm going to undo all that stuff because you can do it. You can be in shape all you want, but if you start eating McDonald's every day and sitting on your butt, not doing anything and not getting yourself ready and not reading the Bible and worshiping the you-know-who, you're going to get worse. Every single day that this administration is in office, that's what we're doing. We're losing ground. And as one man, I can't do anything about it. I can talk to as many people as I want. I can spread the message. But if nobody's doing anything, what's the point? My father, God rest his soul. I love my daddy, man. I talk to him every day, and my grandmother. He was one of the smartest men I've ever met in my life. This guy, and he was a hardcore Democrat, which I guess that's an oxymoron. He used to watch Jeopardy every single night. When I used to come to his house at 7 o'clock, I already knew I had to be quiet from 7 to 7:30 Eastern time because he watched Jeopardy. This man, and I'm not kidding you, he can answer almost every single question. And I've seen him on some episodes answer every question, including the bonus questions. I'm not joking either. I go, Dad, why don't you go on Jeopardy? Oh, I ain't doing that and blah, blah, blah. He works. His whole day was surrounded by watching CNN and doing this. But when Jeopardy came on, his whole day was surrounded by, I could talk to him during CNN. He would explain to me stuff. He'd break stuff down, which I didn't believe in either, but I respect my daddy. He didn't raise me, but my dad was a street guy. He wasn't a family man, but we got to know each other when I was in my 20s. And I'm glad that I got raised by his parents who had good old-fashioned Southern values, and he knew that I was better off with them. He was running the streets and stuff. He wasn't a father, but he was my dad, and I love him, and I forgive him. He watched CNN, and then when Jeopardy came on, you couldn't say a word. He'd answer almost every question. Dad, why don't you go on Jeopardy? Nah, son, I'm not doing that, and blah, blah, blah. So when people tell me or say knowledge is power, if my dad was on that show and used that knowledge on that show, it would have been power. The problem is he didn't use it. So knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Let me say that again. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. My dad knew everything about Europe and overseas, and he had an envelope of money that he was going to use to go. He talked about it, he learned everything about it, and then he passed away and he never went. He made all those sacrifices to save that money, and he never went. He learned all that stuff about the etiquette, and because he was in a wheelchair his last few years. How to get around in a wheelchair, he learned all that stuff, and it was for nothing. I'm not saying that to talk about my daddy. I love my daddy. With all my heart, I love my father. But you can learn from other people's mistakes. You don't have to make your own mistakes to learn. That's why I read a lot of books and learn from people that are much older than me, even younger than me, because you don't have to make the mistakes to learn from those mistakes. And I told myself that everything I learn about, I won't waste my time learning about things I don't need to know. I'm going to learn about things that apply to my life, and then I'm going to apply those things I learned. And that's the key. Why do people slow down when they see me? It's like, well, I'm slow. Always going by the museum, probably. Not gonna lie, when people like slow down next to me like that, I don't like stuff like that. So you must apply what you learn, and don't waste your time, and don't apply your time on things that you'll never do. Turn off the TV, man, and learn things you need to learn. This country, I love it. I love what the founding fathers, what they built this country on. Were they perfect? No. Were they tyrants? Yeah. Do I know what they did to the Native Americans? I did a paper on them. I know a lot of Native Americans from Rochester, New York, in the Buffalo area. We had a Indian reservation up there. I learned a lot about what they did to the Native Americans, and I learned about what they did to my people. Obviously, I know all those things. No country's perfect. No man is perfect. That's why we need the Bible, and we need the Constitution. And we're going away from both of those. Every single thing that this regime is doing, because they're just using the Democratic Party. They're just using them. And what are the three things that they're using the Democratic Party to get us away from? They're trying to break up the churches. They arrested somebody for that. Don't even get me started. They're trying to get us away from God. They're trying to break up the nuclear family. And they're trying to get away from the Constitution. Every single gun law is unconstitutional. If we can't have every single weapon the government has, it's unconstitutional. I don't care what kind of school shooting has. They're trying to break up the family by doing what? Telling men to be weak and emotional, don't work out. That's why they arrested Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate was spitting facts, and they locked him up for 90 days for it. He was a political prisoner. They would have did the same thing to Donald Trump if they could. But if you notice, Andrew Tate really hasn't said anything. He knows he's got a lot of money, he's got a lot of influence, but not more than these people. They will buy and pay for him out of their back pocket. He don't have any money compared to them or power. But Donald Trump has too much influence, and they can't do that to him, especially in America. So they're trying to break up the family. They're trying to go away from the Bible, and they're definitely going away from the Constitution, and I can't be a part of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay for another year and a half or whatever, and I'm going to see what happens with this election. And if they do something to Donald J. Trump, again, I'm not saying he's the savior, but if they don't want him in this bad, there's a reason for that, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm going to try to do the best I can to be that man I talked about earlier, regardless of what my country's doing. I'm going to be that man that makes $100 every day, that works out, that eats better, that prays, learns things, new things that apply to me, and apply those things that I learned. Get rid of old and bad ideas You got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, I'm going to be watching my great nation, because we still are the greatest nation. And fortunately and unfortunately, we still have a lot of influence on the world. We used to have good influence. We used to have all the great movie stars and the great actors, entertainers, singers, you name it. We had the best. Have you ever heard like an Italian movie being a good blockbuster here in America? When you go overseas, if you haven't been overseas, you go overseas, sometimes you'll think you're in America. It's so crazy, man. Like, you'll hear our music, you'll watch our movies. It's like, what? But you don't hear, Chinese movies, like big blockbuster movies I'm talking about. You don't hear Chinese singers on our radios and stuff like that. We have a lot of influence. Fortunately, we did back in the Reagan era and all that other stuff. But now, unfortunately, we have a lot of influence, and they're looking at us going, we don't want to be like these people. You heard what the African dude said. The audacity of Kamala Harris to come over here and offer us $60 million to do these atrocious things. Whatever her name is, the girl that looks like from the Black Panther, KJP, the girl who can't do her job, the press secretary for the White House. When Africa came out and basically said, we're denouncing gay marriages and all that gay stuff, she's like, basically saying, we don't mess with Africa. We heard the African Republican dude trying to get an interview or talk or ask questions. KJP only picks Democratic questions when she picks up all the questions every morning, Monday through Friday. She has to pick one Republican. Of course, you know who that is. Peter Ducey, the man. So she always buckles in when he answers questions. She basically denounced Africa for that, because they don't believe in that BS. And again, it ain't the Democrats. It's the people that are in charge. They pick the Democrats. Again, the Republicans aren't angels either. A lot of them are bought and paid for too by the cabal and the World Economic Forum and GS. I'll say that his initials. Evil people. I'm going to be watching while I'm going to try to be that first man of doing the right things every day and not doing the bad things. Do as many things that you're supposed to do, and don't do the things you're not supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen. Even though I don't like Warren Buffett anymore, he had a great quote or great saying. He said, look, this is all you have to do. You want to be a good person? Do this right here. Pick the person that you admire the most in the world. Not person like a LeBron James or something that's 6'8", 240 pounds, or, things that you can't do. I'm talking about they're admirable things they can do. Like, be a good person, be a giver, things that you can do, right? Like a John F. Kennedy or Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or somebody that whoever it is in your world. It's your grandpa, whoever. Write down all the things that you admire about that person. And then take the most despicable person that you know, the most absolute despicable person you know, and then write down everything that you hate about that person. And then do this. Look at that piece of paper and do everything that admirable person does and emulate that person. And if you see anything on the list of those people that you disgust and despise, if you're even thinking about doing those things, don't do them. Don't do those things, ladies and gentlemen. And you will be a good person. Do that, and then write down everything you're supposed to do and have self-discipline. I think Brian Tracy said this. Self-discipline is the art of doing something you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. There's two types of pain, ladies and gentlemen, with self-discipline. There's a pain of doing it, like working out and doing it. It's a temporary pain, and it hurts to do it. Like taking these walks sometimes and holding this phone up. I wrote it down last night. I was going to do it, and it's painful. But nothing is more painful than regret. Self-discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Which pain are you going to choose? I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you and your family. Have a great Sunday, and do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. God bless this country, man. God bless this country, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.